am a mom of 3, and I'm going to talk a little bit about just growing up in my eating, having an eating disorder, and kind of an eating disorder that I didn't even realize that I had, and for a long time, for years, up until about like last year, I didn't even know it really was an eating disorder. I thought I was healthy, and it would manifest in different ways as I got stressed. I grew up doing cheerleading and roller skating, and I was always the very thin friend, the thin person, and that kind of becomes your identity when you're always the skinny person, and you kind of always like strive to keep that, because I didn't really hold that many great relationships in my life, so that was almost how I was better than people. I was the skinny friend, that was the one thing that people always said, oh, you're so skinny, oh, you look so good. And in my life, as I would get more stressed out, my eating would start to get worse. But what I would tell myself was I was being healthy because I wouldn't starve myself. My brain would literally tell my body that, like, if I ate a piece of bread, that was unhealthy because I hadn't eaten anything for the entire day. And, like, yeah. I didn't know what it was. I'd be like, I will only eat if I can eat a salad, but the salad can't have any fat on it. It can't have anything, because in my head, like, it was unhealthy. And I did that for so long, and I was so skinny. And it would come in like waves in my life as I would get more and less depressed or anxious, especially after I would have a child. I also suffer with DMER, which is it's severe anxiety when you breastfeed, which it's not really something that a lot of people know about, because it's not like postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety. It's only when you breastfeed and you're let down. You are like, I would be terrified. Like, I would have to sit there and go in my head, like, why are you scared? What are you scared about? So all that combined, and then the anxiety of breastfeeding that came with it, and eating healthy, like, it just, when you're like a woman, and especially I lived in California for a long time, where you're like really obsessed about your health. So when I was breastfeeding, I also really obsessed about my health, to the point where I was down to 92 pounds last year. I was so thin, and I finally found myself a good therapist who was like, you have orthorexia. It is when you over control your foods to the point of starvation. So now, throughout my daily life, I have to be really conscious about what I'm eating, but also not to control what I'm eating. And also I have to watch when I'm getting really stressed out, because it will come back. I mean, just honestly, last week I was like super stressed out. I hadn't eaten in days, and I'm like, I'm gonna have this grilled cheese, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, don't eat that. You can't have a grilled cheese, because if you're gonna put something into your body right now, better be healthy. Like, it better be like a salad without salad dressing on it. And when I really started to notice it too, I noticed that I was starting to do it with my kids. I noticed that I would not eat for days, and then when it came to feeding them, I'd be like, oh my God, I can't feed them macaroni and cheese. And then I was like, no, like, thank God they're your kids, so you stop. But like, I noticed I would start to do it in other places, and it's really scary when your brain tells your body stuff like that. And the biggest thing that has helped me with that has been medical marijuana. That's been huge for me. I got on the program last year when my orthorexia was the worst, and I, within a month of being on the program, put on 10 pounds. I felt so much better. I wasn't anxious about it. And it took a little while for me to be okay with it being legal for me to smoke. Like, that was huge for me, because like, I would like I would smoke my weed at the beginning of the day, and then I would be like, oh my God, I'm high, I'm not supposed to be this way. And then I was like, no, like, this is prescribed to you. Like, I'd have to go to my therapist and be like, no, this is okay. And like, I've been on Xanax, I've been on all kinds of different pills that are supposed to help. And like, when you're 92 pounds, you can't take a Xanax and function. Like, it doesn't really work. And it's so scary because that's so often what you are prescribed. And I feel so blessed and so lucky that I don't have to be on that, and I can be a mother, because I could not imagine having to take something like that and have 2 kids and chase around after them. So, I mean, that's just really been a blessing, and I don't know, it's just been huge for me. And I'm really try to put the word out there and like destigmatize it, that like it's okay. It's a new program. Smoking weed is kind of scary, but it's okay, and it's much better than starving yourself. It's much better than being anxious all the time. And I mean, it comes with this stigma. I have a lot of family members who like, oh my God, you smoke weed. And I'm like, you eat Xanax. Like, like, I mean, and it's fine. Whatever works for you is fine, but it's like, you can't judge somebody for what they're taking. And that was, the biggest thing that brings me back to having an eating disorder is just judgment in the beginning. I learned when I was on the school bus, when I first learned about my body, I can remember being on the school bus and being told by a girl that I was fat. Now, mind you, I was so skinny, and this girl was so mean to me. And I remember being like, I know I'm not fat, but why is she being so mean to me? And that, like, and I always remember, she actually later in life apologized to me for being so mean to me on the bus. But it's just like crazy. It's just crazy how we like grow up and like think about that. And I'm so happy that we have, like, as bad as the internet is, I feel like it's a good thing if you monitor it, because like, I never would have known orthorexia. I never would have known that there was other people struggling with it. Like, I thought I was healthy. I thought I was eating how I was supposed to. My brain was telling me, you're healthy. All you eat is salad all day. And, I also was a postpartum mother, and I had all of these friends who had babies around the same time as me who are like, you look so great. You look wonderful. And I'm like, I do look great. Like, so the internet definitely helped me, like, find other people that were struggling with the same thing, because there's not like support groups, there's not like anybody to really talk to that's been through it before. And unless you've like, I'll be honest, I glamorized eating disorders when I was younger. I was like, oh cool, she can just not eat for days and be skinny, like sweet, that sounds really cool. And it's horrible, like I laugh, but like I thought it was something, which I think a lot of people think, that you choose. But this literally is such something in your mind that I can remember being with my friends and just crying and being like, I literally can't eat. Like, the thought of eating something makes me nauseous. And it was just crazy. And as a child, I was on a lot of medication. I saw a lot of therapists, and it was really traumatic, going to all of them, being told there were all these things wrong with me, especially as, a kid going through high school and feeling awkward and not having a lot of her family around, to be told you're bipolar, you have this crazy depression, you will never function. I was put on tons of medication as a child. I was on medication that I now, like, when I research it now, it's for people that have severe seizures, that have just all kinds of things that I didn't have. But I also was a child of 3 children, and I'm sure my mom was really stressed out. But yeah, I was on a lot of stuff. So I had a lot of trauma around going to seek help, around telling people that I was having a problem. Also, when you're a mom and like, you don't want people to think that you're going to be a bad mom. You don't want people to like send, you know, Department of Children and Families to your doors, because like that's a whole new can of worms. So as a mom, I think with any kind of mental health thing, like you're so scared to get help. At the time I was a single mom. I had a 1-year-old and 2-year-old by myself. I was working 2 jobs by myself. I look back on that time in my life and I'm like, I don't even know how any of us like survived. Like I like literally was on such autopilot at that point in my life that no wonder I wasn't eating. Like, but I mean, it's just crazy like what you can do if you have to. People ask me all the time like, how do you do it? How are you like a single mom to these kids? And it's like, you just do it. Like you don't have a choice. Like you don't have, they're like, they can't do it. They're not going to get jobs. So yeah, and when at a time like that is when my eating disorder gets really bad, because I don't have time to think about myself. I have to think about everybody else. So, you know, really the biggest thing for me was finding a therapist that I really trusted. And I probably went through about 8 therapists before I found one. And it took a lot of, she was into Reiki and she was into energy therapy, and that really helped me because she kind of was able to see where I was holding things. Like I'm very good, like you'll never know I have a problem. I am Italian, Irish to like, we don't have problems in our family. Like this never happened. So it was really helpful. She also was Irish and Italian, so she got it. So you know, that was huge. So I really just like encourage anybody to just like go to therapy and keep going and keep going and keep going and just keep going until you find somebody, because there is a good therapist out there, and not everybody has the same friends, so not everybody's going to have the same therapist that works for them. So that's huge. My eating is so much better now. Having the medical marijuana has been huge in addition to having the therapist. I'm now at 121 pounds. I just actually got cleared by my therapist to start working out more, because that was another huge thing, is when you have an eating disorder, they don't want you working out all the time. So I'm really like 2020 is my year to really focus on my health and building that back up. I have an Instagram, Normalmomsclub. I am open to speaking with anybody about eating disorders of any kind, and I hope that I can help you.